Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Speak the Truth in Love ministry with Miss Veronica Mirembe Benedictio this Wednesday evening. And I'll first of all teach us how to say good evening in the different international languages. In English, we say good evening. In French, we say bonsoir. In Chinese, we say wan shang hao. I think that is right. Then in Swahili, we say habari ya jioni. And yeah, I think that is it. Good evening, bonsoir, wan shang hao, habari ya jioni. And in German, we say guten Abend. Guten Abend, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Speak the Truth in Love channel, Speak the Truth in Love ministry with Miss Veronica. And this evening, or this beautiful evening, I want to give my video a title, The Power of Speaking Out. You know, the power of speaking out. Amaanyi agali mu kwogera ku kintu. Oba omuganda kyayita wekolekko olugambo. You know, I want to share this video with someone out there and share certain truths about the power of speaking out. Amaanyi agali mu kwekolako olugambo. I think that is what the Baganda call it. Wekolekko olugambo. You know, there is something I want to teach the world out of my life story. In most cases, most of us are wounded. We are so bound by shame. We are so bound by people's words and opinions because we have not known the power of speaking out. Tetutekedde maanyi gali mu kwekolako olugambo. At times, most of us have allowed people's words and opinions disturb our inner peace because we have not known the power of speaking out. Amaanyi agali mu kwekolako olugambo. There is something, Veronica, I can testify. You know, when you get to know an enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. Inti buli woyogera ku kintu oba okimaze amaanyi. Omuntu buli wovaayo n'oyogera ku kintu oba okimaze amaanyi. Omuzungu kyagamba nti an enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. You know, at times so many people are walking in shame. They are walking in embarrassment because most of us hardly know the power of speaking out. Abantu abasinga tetumanyi maanyi gali mu kwekolako olugambo. Ekintu omuntu buli wekolako olugambo lo tekuli like telukubeerako na maanyi like telukubeerako na buyinza kubanga olwogeddeko. You know, it is what I'm telling someone this evening. You know, at times we have allowed ebigambo bibera bingi, and there's something personally I have learned, Veronica. Never allow people's words and opinions disturb your inner peace. When you are true to yourself, that is one, and when you walk in truth. There is something I tell the world out there. At times we are wounded by people's words and opinions because we are also not walking in truth. Now when gabyokola, it is why people's words offend us. But when you get to learn the power of integrity, amaanyi agali mu bwerufu. Integrity means being truthful when no one is watching. That is the power I call like integrity, amazima. Being the same person in the light and in the dark. There is a lot of power in integrity that protects us from fear imposed words and opinions when you learn the power of integrity and walking in truth. Omuntu buli wotambulira mu bwerufu totya bigambo by'abantu kubanga ensi eno eyogera. We live in a world abantu nga balina bistore ku bantu ojjako nga tobyewuliranga nako. But there is something I tell someone. When you learn how to walk in truth, how to walk in integrity, you are not scared about anyone exposing you, anyone sharing anything, because you walk in truth. You have known the power of integrity. It is what I'm telling someone this evening. Yigo kwekolako olugambo telukuyinako maanyi na buyinza ng'olwogeddeko. And there's something I tell people, wano mu Africa ekintu ekiswaza ye divorce. Omukyala wayawukana n'omwami abantu ne boogera ne bamuyisaamu amaaso, omwami ne bamuyisaamu amaaso, naye gwe vaayo okyogereko nti wayawukana n'omwami wo tekikuyinaako maanyi kubanga okyogeddeko. Abantu abasinga tetumanyi maanyi gali mu kwekolako olugambo, the power of speaking out. You have to understand an enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. Ensi eyinza okukolako olugambo naye gwe vaayo olwekoleko. telugenda kubeerako namaanyi kubanga gwe wennyini gwalwekolako. Kye ŋŋamba omuntu this evening yiga okwekolako olugambo. The power of speaking out. Whenever you speak out, whatever the world is using against you, ebigambo tebikuyinaako buyinza, tebikuyinaako obyogeddeko. Naye abantu waki tubeera mu kuswaziwa? You live in embarrassment because we have not known the true power of speaking out. You know? Never allow, like, there's something I tell people, omuntu atyo mwogerako, yasigala mu lubuto lwa maama we, yasigala mu lubuto lwa nnyina. Those who fear being talked about, they remain in their mother's wombs. Because as long as you are alive, as long as you are living, people will talk, people have words and opinions about people, but what matters most is being true to yourself. You know, it is being true to yourself. It is what I tell people. If first of all you are true to yourself and you are true to your God, it does not matter who says what. Because at the end of the day, there are things we have no control over. There are things we have no authority over. We have no control over people's words and opinions. We have no control over things like traffic jam. We have no control over things like death, like diseases. There are certain things that are natural. The way we handle what people say, the way we handle people is what is going to make the difference. And it is what I'm telling someone. Whenever you allow people's words and opinions derail your inner peace, it is why people live so wounded, people live so unhappy, because you have not known. There is something, Veronica, I speak to myself. People's words and opinions, they do not pay my bills as long as I'm true to myself. And as long as I'm true to my God. Because we live in a world, abantu batwinako ebibozi, buli wamu we tubeera, ku byalo bye tubeera, mu office mwe tubeera, gye tutambulira mu church, abantu batubeerako n'ebibozi. But there is something I tell someone. When you are true to yourself, that is the first thing. And when you are true to God, it does not matter who says what. Because there are things we have no control over people's words and opinions, but we only have control over ourselves. It is us not to allow people's words and opinions derail us, steal our inner peace, because we live in a world that rejoices in people's shame, in people's failure, in people's sorrow, and that is the world we live in. Chengamba abantu wotayiga kwezzaamu maanyi, ensi eno egenda gakumalamu, kubanga ensi gye tubeeramu etunulira bibi, eraba bibi by'oyina, eraba bikuliko bibi, eraba bizibu by'oyiseemu. But people never look at the good side of people's lives, and that's why you see people are so wounded, because we have not known the power of speaking out. You know, you'll bear with me with any noise in the background, just like I'm saying. Whenever you do not speak out, you live in guilt and condemnation. Buli wotayiga kwekolako olugambo obeera mu kuswala, kubanga okkiriza ebigambo by'abantu okumalamu amaanyi, okuweebula ekitiibwa, because you have not known the power of speaking out. You know, it is what I'm trying to teach someone in this YouTube channel. Now, Veronica, personally, I can testify. The first time I came out to share my story on national TV, it was 2020. Navayo okweyogerako about my journey in Butabika nga when naliko omulwadde Butabika. Excuse me. I saw how the world got so angry at me, and I'm asking myself if I have gotten the boldness to come and share about my story of my mental health journey. Why is the world annoyed? Because I got to know when Vayone neyogerako nti nagendako e Butabika, ebintu bino abantu tebininaako maanyi. And that's what I tell people, the power of speaking out. You know, we live in a world where people stigmatize us. No, there are things I tell people, be very careful. People stigmatize people, ne baweebula abantu, ne bayisaamu amaaso, ebigambo ne bifuuka ebigambo everywhere. But there is something I tell people. And on behalf of the people who visit Butabika Hospital, w'omu omanyi nti ffenna tuli human, toweebulanga kitiibwa kya muntu yenna, kuba ffenna tusobola okuvaako, ffenna tusobola okugwa eddalu. I think we are seeing the ongoing stress among people. And the reason I tell people, learn to give people respect and dignity. Miss Veronica, just because I have ever been in Butabika, it does not make me a loser in life. Because Butabika is also a referral hospital where people go and get medical help when the brain gets down. Chengamba abantu abavayo ne beyogerako nga balina HIV. Oli nafuna ne bu video ng'amira ARVs nga tekimuswaza. Why is it that when I came out to share my story about bipolar and mental illness, chintu kiswaza nnyo? Abantu bali so free okuvayo ne boyogerako nga balina siriimu bayamba abantu. Kati nze wenvayo nti I ever battled a brain disorder, waki kinswaza nnyo ensi neweewula ekitiibwa kyange, abantu ne bampisaamu amaaso, people make me lose my dignity because I broke down mentally, and it was years ago. It is what I'm telling people. Be very careful as you stigmatize, as you slander, as you make people points of discussion. We are all human. We are all susceptible to mental illness. People have to know. People break down. Abantu bawona. Ne wachi muwebula ekitiibwa ky'abantu ne mubayisaamu amaaso. No, there are things I tell people. Abantu abavayo nayimirira nayogera nga wayina siriimu ng'ayamba abantu. Kati me who has been through a mental health disorder and I'm helping people, why do I really look like shame? Wachi buli omu abantu ne bakutya, buli wobeera abantu ne bakusosola. And it's what be very careful. You know, it goes back to my message, the power of speaking out. Wekolekko Olugambo. Veronica navayo mu 2020 on national TV. Nenekolako Olugambo nga wenali omulwadde butabika. Netaluninaako maanyi. Chovola bense yogera ayo tumumanyi n'ebirwadde byabyenyumirizaamu. Because I spoke out. I came out to share my story. Ngensi teina kyekosa kunteeka wansi, kumpisaamu maaso, kumpeebuula, because I have been a patient in Butabika who recovered years ago. You know, it is what I'm telling someone, learn the power of speaking out. No, I'm telling you, we live in a community. Abantu boogera, tutunyumiza biboozi, omukyala tumulaba ne ku TV akola program. Because I spoke out. Kati kyonjogerako n'oweewula ekitiibwa kyange tekininaako maanyi, because I got to learn the power of speaking out. And it is what I'm telling someone this evening, learn the power of speaking out. Abantu abasinga tuli mu shame, tuli mu embarrassment, because we have not known that when you speak about something tekikuinaako maanyi. An enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. And it is what I tell people. Veronica so akufuna mwami ankwana nangana rakuba nagenda ke kana kyogerako. Kati ensi kyayagala okosa against you ojja kufuna omwami adduke. Nze ngamba abasajja ne wodduka toba wange kubanga owanga ajja kunjagala for who I am. So that is the power of speaking out. An enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. There are things I tell people, tokkiriza nga mbeera kuswaza vaayo ogyogereko. Whenever you speak about something, it loses power over you. No one will look at people who take ARVs. Mulimu oli nga yeekuba n'ekifaananyi buli lunaku nga azimira. Togenda muswaza kubanga ali free. And so things I tell people, learn the power of speaking out. If people can come out on national TV and they're helping people who are battling HIV and AIDS, what is mental illness? Waki kintu kyakunswaza kyakumpeebuula lwakuba I came out to speak out my story. And it's what I'm telling someone, okwekolako olugambo. Buli weweekolako olugambo telukuyinaako maanyi, telukuyinaako buyinza. Kyengamba abantu abali abafumbo ng'obufumbo bwasasika, wagenda mu divorce enseeseka, abantu vaayo weeyogereko nga oli divorced. Tebikuyinaako maanyi kubanga obyogeddeko. And it's what I'm telling someone, learn the power of speaking out. You know? Learn the power of speaking out. Veronica, I'm very free. No ogena ku Google, no Googleingako. No ogena everywhere. I've shared my story. You go and Google Veronica Mirembe Benediction. They will tell you. She calls herself a proud Butabika case. She helps people with her life journey. She shares her personal story because I got to know the power in speaking out. You know, nothing has power over me because I got to know ekintu bw'okyogerako amanya agakiriko gakuvaako. It is what I tell people. I got to speak about my life journey. I have been through a lot. The stigma has been to another level. I lost work. I lost opportunities. I lost jobs. But I have gained true peace. I have gained true happiness. And it's the reason even I came out to share my story in books. And at the end of the day, I'm a blessing to people through my life journey. It is what I tell myself. I may have lost the jobs and opportunities, but I have true peace. I may have been dismissed from every workplace, but I have true peace because that is the power of speaking out. You know, the years I was doing jobs where I was getting millions of money, I did not have the peace I have today because I came out to share my story. You know, it is something I tell people. You're stigmatizing me, you're rejecting me, does not pay my bills. You know, at the end of the day, you're stigmatizing me, you're okumpebulo, like, such a chindi semmere, Nebioko so kunteka wansi bindi semmere. Veronica, I sell my book. I have a whole book I have written, I have authored. 38 years and a proud Butabika case. Buli wenkatunda nga sente zange bazimpa. Kati nga gwe kiri ky'okosa okunteeka wansi, nga nze Katonda ky'akosa okunyimusa. And it's why I tell people, your opinions are like people's opinion. They don't have. I tell people, be very careful. People have a right to their opinions, but you also have a right to living a happy life. You cannot refute or refuse people's opinions, but you have a right to living happy. Because people's opinions do not pay your bills. And togenda gana abantu ndowooza zaabwe. Togenda bagana bibakulowoozaako. But you have a right to living a happy life. You know, it is what I'm telling someone. The power of speaking out. You know, first of all, get out of denial. Get out of denial. That is the first stage. Acceptance. Chikirize. Then speak out. Veronica, I got to know I was diagnosed with a mental health disorder, which they gave a name, bipolar, that label. In 2002, I was 14 years. You know, I accepted it. In 2020, I came out to national TV to share my story. I got out of denial. Because I've gotten to see the power of getting out of denial. Whenever you live in denial, you're not going to heal. Because you are living in denial. And then I got the boldness to speak out. And the reason I'm telling someone, learn the power of speaking out. Whenever you speak about something, it loses power over you. Because you have gotten to expose it to the world. No, there are things, people take things for granted. Speak it out. You know, because there is true power and healing in speaking out that you can never get in other things. You can never get in therapy. You know, me people what, Veronica, you're not yet married, you have no children, you have, I tell you, nechinchengamba abantu, omusajja ina wajana nkwana, ninachensoko mugamba, nabera kwa murade butabika waduka, I just clap, pataba wange, owange mkama gwe yantondera, aja kunjagala for who I am. And the reason I cannot be wounded because the world has ever seen me, no, I know who I am. You know, and that's what I'm telling someone out there, learn the power of speaking out. You know, because people's words and opinions should never steal your inner peace. They should never wound you. And the reason you should not allow people's words and steal your inner peace. You know, no, there are things I ask myself. Ogena no tuno social media, abantu balina nebo groups. Smile women snatching. Baba basajja babandi. Bali mu groups wa nemwe tubera mu groups za mental health. We are like in recovery support groups abantu ne batyanga kibaswaza. Banange boss wange ajja kundaba ku group eno. Ne webuuza oli waswabso okubera ku group. Nga women snatching bewa bukodwe wa kubba basajja. Smile men snatchers. Kati gwali mu group ya mental health wacho chikirizo kuswaza. No, there are things people have to learn. Because we live in a world where people make us look like losers. We have a problem. But people, no yakola kengambo na ine bizibu bye. And the reason you should not allow people's words and disturb your inner peace. The reason you should speak out. You know? And that is the power of being true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, we are wounded by words and opinions because we are also not true to ourselves. You know, it is why, Veronica, in this story of mental health, I've shared with people, I've shared with the world. I lived for years, we lived in a... They have never seen me in any state into Olibulalu. Because whatever was mental illness was something very different. You know? And I remember I said, nange kantanko baita abanaku. Ompita mulalu nkuita munaku. Omanyi oyita abantu abanaku, you're not humble. Ne mubuuza nze oba osobola okwebula ekitibwa kyange n'ompita omulalu, nze wenkuyita omunaku wakikunyiiza. Because mentu obisoma mu Bible. Bible yegamba mu Luke 6:31, do to others what you want them to do to you. Inti munna mukole kyayagala akole. Woba toyagala kuyita munaku wacho ompita omulalu. Those are things I tell people. Be very careful. We live in a world where people stigmatize people. They make people lose dignity in society, in workplaces, in churches, in offices, in families, because the world has given you a label. You have gone through a label. And the reason I'm telling someone out there, you may have a label. We all have different labels. Each of us has labels. Overweight, widowed, semwandu, namwandu, the HIV, diabetes, so everyone has a label. Poor, mwavu, struggle. We all have those labels in our lives. Just like I share my story. Mulalu, ensine kuito mulalu, newebule ekitiibwa kyo. Learn the power of speaking out. Whenever you speak about something, tekikuinaako maanyi. Tekikuina kuba okyogerako. Nze Veronica nkola programs ku TV oluusi nga simanyi nti nazikola kuba baba bazikwata dda. Naye olina oyo omukyala nagwa eddalu, oyo omukyala bamukuba empiso, oyo omukazi amira eddagala, olina nga totunyumiza n'ebirwadde bwe abyenyumirizaamu. Because I learned the power of speaking out. You know, I chose to use my shame and pain to help other people. I got to know the beauty of being a sacrifice to help other people who are going through whatever I went through. And I have gotten true healing. I have gotten true peace. I may have lost everything in the world, but I have peace. And that is what I thank God for. And the reason I learned the power of speaking out. You know? No, people have misjudged us. They have called us crazy. They have misunderstood us. They have shared stories about us. People have falsely accused us. People have ruined our reputations. And the reason I tell someone, Proverbs 29:25 says, people's opinions about you are none of your business. It says, like, fearing people's opinions is a trap, but trusting God is a snare. Buli omu bamwogerako, buli omu munsi muno bamwogerako, wala n'omwana atannazaalibwa bamwogerako. Kyenva ngamba oyo atya okwogerebwako. Abeera eri mu malaalo eri gye baziika baba bakwogera nga tewali awulira. But as long as you are human, this world will talk, but never allow people's words and opinions steal your worth, steal your inner peace when you are true to yourself, you know, because we live in a world that specializes in keeping us low, in making us, you know, in like putting us to shame. And the reason I'm telling someone, as I'm concluding this video, learn the power of speaking out. Wekolekko olugambo. Omuntu buli wekolako olugambo telukuinaako buyinza, telukuinaako maanyi, kubanga gwe nnyini gwalwekozeeko. Oli abalukolako telubeera na maanyi. And the reason, Veronica, I can testify, even if you go to Google, even if you go to AI, notekam Veronica Mirembe Benediction, bajja kuleetera buli kimu kye neeyogerako. Because I have learned the power of true speaking, of speaking out. I have learned the power as I've been speaking out. I'm helping lives. I'm a blessing to the nations. I'm a blessing to so many people because I learned the power of speaking out. Nayigo kwekolako olugambo. Olugambo teruninaako maanyi na buyinza. And the reason I'm telling someone this evening, learn the power of speaking out. Thank you very much for listening to me. And we are going to learn how to say bye-bye in the different international languages. Let's begin. Swahili, kwaheri. English, bye-bye. Chinese is okay, English bye bye, French au revoir, German tschüss, Chinese zaijian, then Swahili kwaheri. Zaijian everyone, and God bless you. Shangdi bayoni. God bless you in Swahili.